Hey guys, Pyker here, and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Reach. We are on episode 36, and we are still testing our Eve plane and shuttle and all that fun stuff. So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep attempting to see if we can get this to work or not. I got our shuttle. It's pretty much the same design that we've gone with before. It's got some solar panels. It's got a SCANsat on the back. It's got 4 turbojet engines. It's got 4 of those 120 kilonewtons of thrust smaller engines to actually get us into orbit. We got let's open up the cargo bay here and we'll show you what's inside. We have our carborundum scanners. We have a bunch of batteries, RCS fuel, 2 material bays, 2 mystery goos, soil analysis, temperature gauge, accelerometer, and a barometer, and a bunch of life support just in case. We also have it set up because the gravity on Eve is a lot higher than it is on Kerbin, so we have ladders set up. Hopefully that will reach the ground. Depending on where we land. I actually hope I set them up correctly. And yes. Okay, so we have that ladder set up. We also have this ladder set up that will allow us to walk into the cargo bay and get back out without, hopefully without getting stuck, basically. But basically I have it so it'll let us walk inside here so we can get all all the science out of it that we need in case something goes wrong. We also have 2 parachutes on the back in case something goes wrong as well. But that is the cargo bay, and pretty much the same design that I've gone with before for the shuttles. I'm hoping that this will work. I haven't tested it yet, so this is going to be the first test flight. So let's see what happens. So we'll start our engines. We'll kill our regular rocket engines and leave our turbojet engines on. Should be these. We have our air intakes open. Yes, they are. Okay, so let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. See if we can get this thing off the ground. Hopefully. Release the brakes here. We can get this thing off the ground and close to what I normally like to see for these shuttles. Hoping this thing will actually take off. The rear wheels are pretty far back, so it might be kind of hard to get this thing to lift off. We might have to change that a little bit, but that's okay. Let's see if we can get this thing to lift off before we get to the end of the runway. Not looking good, but we should be able to fly just fine. There we go. This tail section is like all kinds of wonky. It's making me nervous. We'll keep our turbojets on full steam. We'll get into a 30-degree climb here. Hopefully, without anything snapping off. It'll be plus. We've got some solar panels on it. We've got air brakes. We've got our docking port to line up with the rocket that is currently in orbit at 250 kilometers above the surface. It was a bit of a pain in the ass to get that thing into orbit, so I just kind of omitted that and just got it up there and was, we're testing right now, so I feel like it was not a necessity to have that recorded because it wasn't really that interesting. It was just a really, really long burn. So hopefully these engines will actually keep carrying us and keep giving us extra thrust. I have been running into an issue where we actually start losing kilonewtons of thrust, and I have no idea why, to be completely honest, because usually when you get into a higher altitude and with less oxygen to feed into the jet engines, you actually get more thrust because the fuel to air ratio is greater. So you get more fuel, so you're burning more fuel, but you're also getting more thrust because of that. So I'm not sure. This may or may not work, or may not get into orbit. We're going to give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Okay, so this is the problem that I've been running into, unfortunately, is that as soon as we start getting further up into the atmosphere where our fuel to air ratio should increase our thrust because we're getting more fuel, with less air, so we should be getting more thrust. I'm losing thrust exponentially. I think I got it. I think it goes down to about 32 before I figure out what exactly I can do to fix it. So what I end up starting to do is starting to pitch our space plane up to try to get it. I started to go down to see if we can just the increase of airflow would help with our thrust, but it doesn't. It actually, what we need to do is pitch up, and I need to pitch up as hard as I possibly can, and then it actually starts to increase again. So I try to get to that point, and I'm pitching up, and we're going to be out of the atmosphere where we get significant airflow to our intakes anyways. So I actually have less time to try to increase my thrust to try to get up to speed, which I don't get up to speed, and therefore I don't get up to orbital velocity without running out of fuel. So I'm thinking what our problem is here, or what we can do to rectify this situation is, as you guys can see, we already threw on our rocket engines to see if we can save this. But as you guys can see, we have about a quarter tank of fuel left. I wonked out because I tried to time accelerate again, but that didn't work. So I think what we're gonna try to do is, I think we're gonna stay low. We're gonna stay at like 8,000 meters or 8 kilometers above the surface and just gain as much speed as we possibly can with our shuttle, and see how fast we can get it to go. And once we get it to a certain amount of point where I see like it's starting to level off, what we'll do is we'll pitch up, and we'll slowly pitch up, and then we'll slowly pitch up so we don't rip the wings off, and then we'll keep pitching up and keep pitching up and keep pitching up, and seeing if we can actually get into a trajectory that will get us into orbit. So we're going to go ahead and try this again, but I kind of wanted to show you guys in 4 times normal speed what happened with this launch. So we're going to go back to the launch pad and try this again. All right, guys, we're back on the launch pad. Let's give this another shot with that technique in mind. Let's see what happens. I'm hoping that it'll go well. All right, let's fire all our engines, shut down our rocket engines. Our air takes are open. Yes, they are. And let's throttle this thing to full. I have the brakes on right now. Get this thing, trying to get those turbo engines spooled up. Let the brakes go. Hopefully, we'll be able to get this thing off the ground before the end of the runway again. I would really like this thing to take off before we get to the end of the runway. That would be a very nice change in pace. Nope, still doesn't want to do it. And we're actually losing thrust already. Okay, we're in the air. Pull our gears up. We're losing thrust, see? You guys can see it's at 114, 113. It's up. Is it starting to gain again? Nope, it's still going down. I just need to find a spot where it'll stay in the middle, at least. 110, still going down. I don't know why that is. I genuinely do not know why I cannot get these engines to stay in the thrust vector where they should be. I don't know what the problem is. I almost feel like we're not getting enough air to the air intakes almost. I feel like that might be the majority of the problem. But we're slowly losing thrust, but we're still losing thrust. So I want to try to get this thing up a little bit more. I don't know why we're losing thrust. It's really starting to bother me. We're still losing thrust. Maybe if we'll just get it up to speed, or get it up to a certain point where I see that we're starting to lose speed again compared to the surface, we'll pitch up, not hard, but hard enough that we could start gaining thrust again and hopefully get us enough speed to get us into the atmosphere. We're still losing thrust though. Very slowly we're losing thrust. Now if I pitch up, we're at 106.5 right now. But if I keep pitching up, now it's starting to go up. 106.6, 106.7, 106.8. See, like now it's starting to gain, and I don't understand why. So I think we're gonna stay right here and see what happens. We're actually losing speed now. Maybe if we pitch up more, screw it. Let's go full in. We'll go all the way in. We'll go in, all in. Cash all our chips. See what happens. Still, our thrust is going up, but it's not going up nearly as much as it went down. I'm almost getting a freaking vertical climb going here. The hell with it. Thrust is slowly climbing up. Kilonewtons. 108. We're starting to speed up again. But as our nose tips down, we start losing thrust. Why is that? Now we're losing thrust again. Alright, let's tip down. I have a feeling our engines are going to give out here in a second. Yep, they're about to give out. Yep. Kill those engines before I lose control here. Alright, so we'll go back down again. Because there's no way we're going to get into orbit right now, like with the speed that we're at now. We're only at 300 meters per second. That's nothing compared to what I can usually get with our old shuttle. With our very first shuttle that we've ever built, we got that thing up to almost 900 meters per second before I had to pull up because we were getting so much atmospheric drag. Alright, we're slowly going down. Actually, we're falling pretty quickly, but we are gaining speed. So that's not a terrible thing. So if I could pitch up and kind of level this sucker out. Let's actually fire our engine again. Get those suckers banging on all cylinders here. We're at 470, 480, 490. Just gotta pull up. Already losing a ridiculous amount of thrust. It's not air, it's not starving for air. We're at 0.55 out of 0.60. See, what is the problem here? Could someone please inform me, because I don't know. I don't know why it does this. I don't know if it's the engines or what. As soon as I start pitching up, though, it starts to gain thrust again. See, you can hear the engine start to whine a little bit higher. Now we're at 50 kilonewtons, 52, 53, 54. Like, if I pitch up, I gain thrust again. I don't understand what is going on here. It might be just like my mods clashing with each other. That's a very likely possibility, to be honest. Are we gaining speed still? We're starting to go back up. Now we're gaining speed, but we're also losing kilonewtons of thrust. So this is bothering the piss out of me. I don't know what the deal is here. Guarantee as soon as I start to pitch up again, and I'll start increasing in thrust. Yep. There's the thrust vector going back up again. Maybe if we add... I want to say maybe if we add more air intakes, but I feel like that's not going to do anything. It could be the air intakes, but I don't see why they would be, because I feel like I have two air intakes underneath, so I feel like because I'm pitching up, the air is rushing underneath the wings, therefore hitting the air intakes, giving us more airflow to the engine. But actually, the airflow is not even changing. The units of airflow isn't even changing. Climb back up again. Try to gain some more speed here. Losing thrust again. But if I pitch almost straight up, I gain thrust again. I don't know what the problem is here. Maybe if we switch engines, that might help. All right, I'm not gonna fight with this for the remainder of this for the remainder of this episode. I'm actually gonna go see if we can fix it really quickly. 1 second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that again. Switching back and forth from the VAB to other things seems to crash my game a lot. But we added two more air intakes. We're gonna see if this actually does anything because I am curious. If it does, awesome. If not, we're gonna change the engines because that seems to be the only other problem that I can possibly come up with. So we're gonna get these turbojets rolling as quickly as we possibly can, and see if we can get this thing to do what it should be doing in the first place. Airflow should be astounding right now. We're already losing thrust. 119. Already starting to lose thrust. I'm saying it's the engines. Because if it doesn't change or doesn't get any better, then it's definitely the engines. It's going down, but it's going down a lot slower. So maybe it was the air intakes. I don't know, but I know that this isn't going to be able to get us into the orbit. I know it for a fact. Right? It's just there's just no way. If we're already losing thrust and we're only 1 kilometer above the surface, I mean, is it really going to give us any more at 10 kilometers above the surface? I mean, it's going down a lot slower than it did before. So maybe it was the air intakes. I don't feel like that should be a problem, but it seems that it is. Weird. What's our thrust at now? 108. It's slowly decreasing, but not nearly as badly as it was before. Let's see what this does. Let's see if we can get this to work. I'm going to go ahead and say no, but I'm already going to just assume that we're not going to get it to work. Thrust is still going down. Now, if I pitch up, does my intake air increase? No, it doesn't change on here. What's this? What is this? Hold on, let's click on this and see what this is all about here. Okay, so it's only, what is the deal here? I only have one side of the intakes working. That's not right. This one says it's working though. So does this one, but it's not showing up on here. What is the problem here? Why is that doing that? That is definitely interesting. Maybe that's the problem. I have 6 air intakes, but it's only using 3 of them. I don't see how that's a possibility, but it seems like it is. What's our thrust at? Going down. Still at 106 now. This is a conundrum that I need to solve. I don't know what the deal is, but it is confusing the living hell out of me. .7, 0.6. I mean, when I right-click on our intakes, it says that they're working. But whenever I click on them on here, it doesn't show them working. It only shows these 3 working, which is really, really weird to me. I mean, it's not getting any better, to be completely honest. Let's actually see if we can level off a little bit here. Instead of gaining more altitude, we'll actually tip down a little bit, see if we can get up the speed a little bit. Gain some more speed, hopefully. Still want to gain altitude just a little bit. I don't want to go back down. I just want to go up just by like 0.5 of a meter per second. Let's pull up a little bit more. This episode might run for a little bit longer than usual, but I want to try to figure this out. Because this is the kind of issues that I've been running into. I mean, we're still gaining speed, so that's good. We're now, you know, pretty level for altitude. We're not gaining or losing altitude, so we can just probably sit right here and hopefully keep gaining speed. We're at 495 right now, which is pretty good. I would like to be at like 900, but I don't see that happening. We're also starting to lose thrust already, like exponentially again. Maybe it's because we're going so fast we lose the amount of... That doesn't make any sense. We should actually be getting a ridiculous amount of air intake at higher speeds. What is the problem here? Yeah, we're already down to 75 kilonewtons of thrust. But we haven't changed altitude. We've been staying at the same altitude this entire time. But we're still losing thrust. Alright, well, I think we're going to call this episode here. I'm going to try to figure this out off camera, because I don't know what the problem is. I'm really confused, to be honest. I'm going to try to figure this out, though. So, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. And I am going to be working on this for... I feel like this is going to take me quite a while to figure this one out. So, thanks, guys, and I will see you all next time.